Hey guys, it's Dawn and Drogo here, and today we want to talk about cutout. Cutout is something that I had red flagged as something extremely dangerous, yet extremely prevalent, at least from the YouTube videos that I've seen. So it was definitely something that I needed to understand and address and figure out a plan for. So what is cutout? Basically, when you exceed the power capacity of your wheel, then it is no longer able to stand up like this, and it will just fall over. So I'm going to shut off his power, and now when I try to roll him, he just does this. There's no power holding him upright anymore, so he just falls down. So if you are leaning, and he's not going to lean like that, but say your body is leaning full tilt and you're going and you're hitting max capacity, and the wheel no longer has any power left to hold itself upright, then it will just cut out all power. It will shut down and it will go kaboom like that immediately. This fall is instant. There's not any distance from here to here at speed. So it is extremely bad, and you will end up face planting into the asphalt, and this will hit and then it will tumble, boom, 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 and it is just really bad. So that is what cutout is. And now, what are the different things to prevent cutout? Because obviously that is devastating. One, the manufacturer put in a tilt back feature, and big thanks to Marty. Marty told me that I needed to set my tilt back to something low, a low speed, and to feel it, experience it. So I did. I set it at 11 miles an hour. 11 was my choice, 10 wasn't a choice. So I set mine at 11 miles an hour, and I felt it, and I was afraid to do it because I thought that he was gonna like buck me off or do something like really violent, but it actually was really easy. It basically just felt like if this was my foot on the pedals, it felt like the pedals rose and he tilts back. And all of a sudden it was just really hard to lean forward and to go faster and to accelerate. It was very, very gentle, very mild, to the point that the first couple times I wasn't even sure if that was what it was. I thought that it was just all of a sudden really hard to accelerate. And I just had to know that it was tilt back because that's what I set it to, 11 miles an hour. But it wasn't scary at all. So tilt back is definitely an option you can use. Then they have alarms. Alarms are usually speed based. At least the option on the app is speed. So at a certain speed, the alarm 1 will beep, and the next speed alarm 2 will beep, and I believe it's alarm 1, it's 3 beeps, and different wheels might have different things, but for Drogo, alarm 1 was 3 beeps. It goes beep, 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 like that. And that is to tell you that, okay, you've already hit the speed. And it isn't really to tell you that anything's wrong. It's just to tell you that you have now hit the speed. Then alarm 2, so you set a speed, and then it now does 4 beeps. Beep, 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 beep. And then alarm 3, that is the alarm that you have to pay attention to. It's 5 beeps, and it's almost continuous. And it will tell you that you are in danger and you need to back off, or you're going to cut out. So let's see. So we have the beeps, and I was playing around with it yesterday. And first off, I was glad to hear that I am able to hear my level 5 beeps at top speed, which my top speed at that time was 33.8 miles an hour, because I didn't do it at full capacity, at 100% battery. it was like half battery. And so my top speed then was 33.8 miles an hour. And he was doing his 5 beeps and I could hear him clearly. But then, you know, that also kind of threw me off because I was like, I'm only doing 33.8 miles an hour. I mean, he should have more to give me, right? And there was just this question of, you know, I just hate all this wishy-washy stats. I wish that they were like very firm, you know, like, okay, you do this, you die. You know, you don't do this, you don't die. But with this, it's not like that. It all depends. Well, it all depends if you're, you know, going uphill, if you're fighting a headwind, you know, if you had an extra milkshake the night before and you're extra heavy, or you're wearing a heavier backpack, or, you know, it's like all these different factors. So it's like I needed to wrap my brain around something solid. And big thanks to Brandon who alerted me to PWM on DarknessBot. So I have to use DarknessBot because I have an iPhone. And DarknessBot is the app for the wheel. Or if you have an Android, then you would use EUC World. But with DarknessBot, you can set PWM. I've already done this with Drogo. So right now, I have the speed and PWM as my most important. I'm sorry, I'm just watching Drogo see if he's going to go crazy. Let me see if I can control him with my knee. There we go. All right. So, speed and PWM as my most important stats to look at. Speed will give me an idea if I'm getting close to cutout, but actually PWM is going to tell me. And what PWM is basically an indicator of the motor power output. And so the first thing I needed to do was set him on a stand that allows him to free spin. And then I can watch the PWM number. It's a percentage number. And see at what number he cuts out at. He cut out at 88%. So then I had to go into settings, device, and PWM correction. And I had to set it to plus 12%. To get it to 100%. So basically, doing that, I am correcting the value to show that he will cut out at 100%. I'm not changing anything else. I'm just changing this visual value to read as 100% because 100% is easier for my brain to understand. So now I understand, okay, right now, his PW value is 0 because he's not using any power to just sit there. But at 100%, he will cut out. All right, so that's easy enough. This is also a good thing to do if you also want to test out your speed alarms. That way you can set your speed alarms and then you can do this and see, okay, at what speed does alarm 1 go off? At what speed does alarm 2 go off? What does it sound like when it's going off and stuff like that. So right now, now I can't see. There we go. We are at 10 miles an hour and he's drawing 20. He's at, oops. Let's go back to 10 miles an hour. Around 10 miles an hour, he has about 20% motor output. At, let's do 15 miles an hour, or fine, 16. 16 miles an hour is at 30% PWM. 20 miles, let's slow down a bit. 20 miles an hour, he's at 40%. Oops, let's go to 25 miles an hour. 25 miles an hour, he's at 47%. Trying to get to 30. 30 miles an hour, he's at about 60% for 30, yes. 30 miles an hour, 60%. 35 miles an hour is 70%. Oh, there we go. So this is level 3 beeps. And I have it set at 80% PWM. At 80% PWM, he's going to start beeping. And that was, how fast? $40 miles an hour. All right, so what's great about Drogo is that when I set this, that means that at 80% PWM, he's going to start beeping at me, and I hit 45.5 miles an hour on here, the max speed, and he didn't cut out. So I have some play. Now remember, this is without any weight. With weight on him, you got to cut that down about at least 10 miles an hour. So 45.5 would be 35.5 with a rider on him, about that. Plus you subtract if it's going uphill, if there's a wind, a backpack, or heavy weight, heavier weight, stuff like that. So anyways, but you saw how I was able to modulate. Now let's see what happens if we are riding the beeps, and how much of a margin we have before he shuts down. All right, so I'll just hold my, I don't know if you can see my phone, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to read it out to you too. All right, let's go. Ooh, I just saw that I hit 99. Here I'm riding the beeps. Just as long as I stay below 100, I'm not going to cut out. 97, 98. Actually, I can hit 100 a couple times and it'll be fine. So I can actually, I can ride those a long time. The whole time he's beeping is the whole time that he's above 80%, and we were dancing right around 90%, and 99. Okay, now I'm going to hit 100. Oh, there we go. So that was 100%. After dancing at 99 and then at 100%, and then he cut out. He's shut down now. And that was max speed of 48.5 miles an hour on 100% battery. So we take 48.5, we'll take off 10 miles an hour. So that's 38.5 maybe is his top speed with 100% battery with weight on it, possibly, but I still have to figure that out exactly. But okay, now what is the safety margin? So that is actually a huge safety margin, but how does it look like to go from 80 to 100? So 80% PWM to 100, like if you have an unexpected bump. All right, Drogo, let's do this again. Ready? I just went straight to 99. All right, so here is 80. Bump. Oh, he's actually doing great. There. So, I don't know if you could tell, I was totally pulling on him. Actually, I probably need to put some weight on my... okay, let's do it again. Is my leg in the way? All right. I need to hold down my... All right, let's do it again. That was at a 99 and he didn't shut down. There we go. So my point is that at 80%, to give you that margin of error, it's actually really nice, because once he starts beeping, then he gives me plenty of juice to tell me that, you know, I should be able to slow down, back off, and be perfectly safe. I have plenty of juice. Now, even if I hit a bump, but depending on the bump, right, I should be fine with it. But you have to respect the beeps, and that is why. And I love the PWM because it is easy for my brain to wrap around, okay, 100% means you're going to die. Instead of like before, PWM was 88% and stuff like that. And it's more accurate than the speed being speed-based and stuff like that. So I love that advice of using the PWM. And you can set the PWM alarms as well on here. You can set it at whatever you want. But that is going to be a great safety feature to avoid cutouts. Now, I will say that on Rossi, it's different. Rossi is the MCM5 V2. And with him, I did the same thing. I did the whole PWM thing, and I set him at 80% alarms and stuff like that. And with Rossi, even though he's set at 80% PWM, his margin of error from 80 to 100 goes like this. And trying to modulate it on my stand like I was doing with Drogo. You saw with Drogo, I had so much play between 80 and 100%. I did not have that on Rossi. With Rossi, it was almost immediate, and I couldn't ever stop the cutout. Even though I thought I was leaning back just like I was doing with Drogo, it was the margin of error is just so much smaller because he has a smaller battery capacity. He has a smaller margin of error. Drogo has a bigger battery capacity, so a bigger margin of error, margin for error. Meaning a bigger safety margin, I should say, probably bigger safety margin. And then that would be an argument for a bigger, more powerful wheel. The more battery power you have, the bigger the range and, higher the speed and all that if you want to look at it that way. But you can also look at it as you will have a bigger safety margin as well. All arguments are going towards getting a bigger wheel. And I will get a bigger wheel in the future, but just not at this point. So anyways, I hope that this was helpful to show you how you can recreate a cutout very safely on a stand, and to me, this was very helpful to be able to modulate him and to control and to see the readouts and to now wrap my brain around, okay, what is a cutout? How do I avoid it? How much safety margin do I have? What does it mean when it starts beeping like this and stuff like that? This was all very helpful to me. And this understanding is what I'm hoping will keep me from ever having to experience cutout for myself, because that is just terrifying. Thank you for watching. Hope that helped, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.